Spectre is the fourth Daniel Craig James Bond movie, once again directed by Sam Mendes, who did Skyfall 3 years ago. And what this movie's about is James Bond goes on a mission to hunt this secret organization called Spectre, and it leads him to this man named Franz Oberhauser, played by Christoph Waltz, who is the head of this organization. Meanwhile, a man named C, played by Andrew Scott, is trying to erase the 00 program altogether. Now, I was really excited for this movie because I love Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace. Skyfall is a terrific movie, and this movie just promised to be something amazing. It promised to look like one of the best James Bond films. Is it one of the best James Bond films? Unfortunately, I can't make that decision because I've only seen 6 Bond films. I've seen this one, Skyfall, Quantum, Casino, Dr. No, and From Russia with Love. That's only 6 of the over 20 James Bond films that I still need to watch. But is this a really good movie? Yeah, in my opinion, it's a really good movie, and I have no idea why it has a 62% on Rotten Tomatoes, because that is just ridiculous. You do realize that is lower than Quantum of Solace, which is the worst Daniel Craig James Bond movie? I'm just reminding you. Fix it. Now, once again, Daniel Craig is terrific as James Bond. I really liked him in this movie. He's still really cool. He's still a ladies' man, which is frickin' awesome. Everyone should want to be James Bond, because James Bond is literally the best spy person ever. What I really like about this movie is that they kind of show off some of James Bond's past, which I thought was really cool. And Léa Seydoux, I hope I pronounced that last name correctly, she's the new Bond girl in this movie, and I thought she was really good. Not only is she really beautiful, but her and Daniel Craig's chemistry was actually really good. She didn't feel like a Bond girl, she felt more than that at points, because their chemistry just felt kind of right. Whether she's gonna come back for the next James Bond movie, not sure of that at all. But if she does come back, then I don't know if they're gonna keep her around, because the Bond girls kind of switch with every movie, so I don't know what's gonna happen. What I'm trying to say is she was really good, and she and Daniel Craig worked off each other very well. At first, she's kind of reluctant to join James Bond because of reasons I won't spoil in case you don't know, but then you can kind of feel, you know, them getting closer and stuff, which was really cool to see. The romance isn't cheesy or anything. It's not like they were popping cheesy one-liners everywhere. It was actually a realistic type relationship. And Ralph Fiennes as M, once again, he was really good in this role. It was finally good to see what he could do when he was in charge of MI6, and I thought he pulled it off very well. Naomi Harris as Moneypenny, she returns from Skyfall, and she was also really good once again. And Ben Whishaw returning as Q, who played Paddington earlier this year. Once again, he was really good as Q. He's really good. He's a good actor. I want to see him in more stuff. And Dave Bautista, if you're expecting any brilliant performance out of him, you're not going to get that. He says one thing, literally one thing for the entire time he's on screen. So if you're looking forward to him giving Bond a big speech about why he's evil and stuff, you're not getting that. You're not really getting much of a character either. He's literally just the big guy that James Bond will have to fight later on, which is an incredible train sequence, by the way, where he and James Bond throw down. I'm not going to spoil what happens, but it's really good and intense. So Dave Bautista played the big guy who challenges Bond throughout the movie very well, and he doesn't need to give a great, epic performance for me to be blown away by him. He's got muscles clearly larger than me. Clearly, he's big, like he's got the beard, and he's bald. Of course, he could kick anyone's butt. Never trust a big, bald, bearded man who looks like he lifts every minute of his life. And the action scenes in this movie are really good. There's a little bit more action in this one in Skyfall, so if you're a little bored in Skyfall, you might really enjoy Spectre a lot. There's especially one great scene in the beginning of the film. There's a huge tracking shot through Mexico City, and then it ends with James Bond on top of the roofs with a gun preparing to take out someone. This is one shot. It's a non-stop take that ends as soon as James Bond gets to the roof, and that lasted for about, like, what, 5 minutes? It was really, really good. The camera work is very nice. Shot very well. Loved it. However, what really is holding Spectre back is how they treated their villains. Christoph Waltz as Franz Oberhauser. He was really good. Unfortunately, he only has like 3 or 4 scenes in the entire film that literally do not show him off very well, because when he's in these scenes, he blows you away. He's great. He's terrific. But there's not enough of him. In the trailer, you're supposed to be promised a huge psychological battle with James Bond and him, because he kind of has the upper hand over James Bond, and the trailer's promised for that to be evident throughout the entire movie. It's not. Like 3 or 4 scenes he's in it. And I wouldn't be as upset about his character if it were just for one thing that they did that just made me like, okay, well, now that you did that, you should have had him in the movie more. I'm not going to spoil what happens. It's a twist. Like, if you love classic Bond, you'll probably understand what's going on. So I'm not going to spoil what goes down, but as soon as you realize what it is, you're going to be like, oh, well, he should have been in the movie more. And Andrew Scott, he's trying to delete the 00 program forever and stuff. His subplot, not interesting. Like, whenever they cut back to it, I was like, oh, okay. It's like I wasn't totally annoyed by it, it was just, I wanted to see more James Bond. If they got rid of that, maybe we would have seen more James Bond and Christoph Waltz. However, this subplot is kind of necessary in the movie, so all you had to do was make him more interesting, make that subplot more interesting, but unfortunately, wasn't that interesting, so I didn't like that subplot. And normally this wouldn't be considered a big thing, because it's just a song, but this is a James Bond theme song. So it is important to have a James Bond theme song. Writings on the Wall, performed by Sam Smith. Let's talk about it. It's a good song. It is. He sings it very well. There's a couple parts where I'm like, what are you doing with your voice there? But overall, I wasn't totally annoyed by it. As a James Bond theme, not the greatest. Like, everyone's gonna say Skyfall is the best James Bond song. This one doesn't compare to this song. I get it. I think so too. Writings on the Wall is not as good as the Skyfall theme. But when the Skyfall theme song came out, was any James Bond as good as that when that came out? No. Adele's Skyfall is probably the best Bond theme song we're ever going to have, and Writings on the Wall is nowhere near as good as that. But if Skyfall wasn't a theme song and this was just an individual theme song, it's good, just not great. It's like, it doesn't really work as a Bond theme, in my opinion. That's pretty much all my flaws with this movie. I really enjoyed it as a James Bond movie. It was so much fun. I really loved it, and I'm gonna give Spectre a B+. I just think if you worked on Christoph Waltz and Andrew Scott and maybe done a better James Bond theme, this movie would have been a perfect A+. But unfortunately, Christoph Waltz wasn't in it enough, and Andrew Scott wasn't that interesting and stuff. Oh well, we will learn for next time. Yup. If you saw Spectre, leave in the comments below what you thought of it. And I'm going to have trailer reviews for London Has Fallen and Kung Fu Panda 3. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.